Hi everybody, tired of the hypocrisy here. Good evening. I hope everyone is well. I wanted to do another video. I guess I should call these audios because you don't get much video with these. Unfortunately, I do have to hide my face for fear that my wife's family will discover my situation here and pressure her. Maybe I'll get one of those guys that V uses, the master that guy V used, and I'll do videos that way. Kind of creepy though. I don't know. Maybe this is better. Anyway, I wanted to give a little clarity to some of the statements I made in my previous video, where I talked about my childhood. I mentioned a situation where uh, an elder had beat up my mom with a shovel, and where we were living at the time, I really shouldn't give the location because it's still to this day a pretty small community, and everybody would probably that had lived around there probably heard about it. And I don't really want to give names. That's even though the guy's passed on. I just I would rather leave people's individual names out of this. But yeah, my folks, we had moved uh, from California to this small town in the desert Southwest, and my dad got a job working at a lumber yard to start off, because we really showed up there with relatively nothing. And part of the deal that went with the job was we got to live in a house trailer on the ranch where the lumber yard was out near the highway, and the people that owned the lumber yard owned thousands and thousands of acres, and they had a cattle ranch on it and their own home. And on that property near on the ranch property was a house trailer, and they said we could live there, and that would be part of my dad's pay, and it was kind of like a side benefit. And since we didn't have a house at the time anyway, so they said, well, you could live in the trailer, and you're within walking distance to the lumber yard. So great. And so we were there for a while, and I can actually remember my dad going deer hunting that winter. We moved there like in the summertime, and that winter my dad went deer hunting, and he took his nephews, one of his nephews' snowmobiles, and they went out deer hunting, and then we did Christmas when my dad got back. And probably sometime in the spring, uh, the witnesses came knocking on the trailer house door, and the elder and his wife were pioneers, I guess. The wife was a pioneer. He was they used to call him servants. He was a servant in the congregation way back then. Uh, Qualifies as an elder today. But they indoctrinated my folks into the watchtower, and the people that own the house, the trailer house, and the lumber yard and the ranch and everything, they were diametrically opposed to Jehovah's Witnesses. They were very good Christian people. I remember playing with their grandson um, when we first moved there. He was a really cool kid, and we were like running around the ranch and just doing all kinds of fun stuff. And they were very, very nice people. And when they found out that my folks were studying with the witnesses, they told them, this is a very bad thing to get involved with, and we don't want you bringing those people around here. And the elder told him, he said, well, he goes, I've got houses on my property. You guys can move into one of those. And since my dad had a vast electronics background, he set up an electronics shop, repair shop. And so what he did was he left the job there at the lumberyard, and we moved into that house on the highway, right on the highway. The front door, I mean, you take 3 or 4 steps and you're on the sidewalk on the highway. And so there was a storefront, and then in the back, the rest of the house. And so come to happen, anybody that moved into that trailer house was visited by witnesses over the years, and they had all been pretty much left. They had to leave the job, and this elder would offer them a house on the property to live, and then help them get a job somewhere else. And so that was kind of like a little thing that was going there in that area with the witnesses and the people that owned that property. Anyway, we were there for a while. I remember I started first grade there, living in that place, and then went through first grade, and then second grade, and my brother started school first grade that when I started second. We're just like a couple of years apart in age. And we used to shadow that elder all the time, because my dad was actually working 2 jobs. He was working his shop, and when the shop slowed down, he was actually working as a lumberjack. And so he would work with my grandfather they did contract work for some lumber company, and then when the TV repair shop, electronic shop needed his attention, he would focus back on that. And so while we weren't in school, we'd get back from school or whatever, we'd shadow this elder, and as he was walking around, he had some farmland on the property there, and there were some canals running by there, and we did some fishing with him there, and we'd kind of just hang out with him, and we used to offer to help him work. He used to tell us that watching was working, and so we felt real good about ourselves. We'll hang out with this guy, and we're learning how to do certain trades. We're pretty young and we're impressionable, and it actually kind of worked to his dismay. One day, there was a situation arose where my dad got the water bill, and it was through the roof. I mean, from 1 month, it was like $7 or some really normal price back then, whatever it was. It was, $5, $7, something like that for a month's worth of water. And all of a sudden here he had like a $40 water bill, and he's like, whoa, we must have some leak going here. And so my dad went looking around to see if there was an obvious leak somewhere, and he couldn't see a leak. And he wanted to check the meter, and he couldn't find it. And he looked in all the obvious places, and he couldn't find it. And we saw our dad looking around outside for something. We said, what are you looking for? And he goes, I'm looking for a little metal cap that you can lift off, and there's a hole that it covers, and there's a water meter in there. And my brother said, look, it's over here. The elder, I'll call him Mr. T, I guess. Mr. T was covering it with his foot like this, and he was kicking dirt on top of the cover. And so my little brother ran over there, and he said, it's over here somewhere. And as he was kicking around, they found it. And my dad looked at it, he examined everything, and he saw that all of the houses had a water supply going through our water meter to the water company. And so the landlord's water was going on that, and there was like a couple of other houses on there. They were all jury-rigged into our water meter, and we were having to pay this gigantic water bill. And so my dad was upset about it, and he ended up having to get up really early to go to work cutting trees. And so he was out the door like by 4:30 in the morning or something. And so my mom went to talk to the elder about it, and I came, it was just really ridiculous. I was just out there. I heard a bunch of shouting and stuff, and I went running out there to go see what's going on, like, just a nosy kid. And my mom was in this guy's face. And I guess he got the shovel to try and cover things up again or whatever, and she told him off, and he swung around and he hit her right in the side of the hip with the shovel. And I was just like, whoa! And my mom saw me standing there, and she goes, "Go get help! Go get help!" And so I like I said in the other video, I went out and I was gonna go into the house and call the cops, and there was a police car just cruising right there, so I waved the cop down and they disarmed the whole thing. But that's a clarification on that. So we've got a crooked elder that ended up evicting my folks over his dishonesty. And this kind of dishonesty was apparently typical for him, because he would come down really, really hard on people. And anybody that was a friend of his, he really didn't hold them to any kind of, discipline as far as the congregation was concerned. One of the other servants in the congregation, maybe 10 years later, we heard that he needed a blood transfusion, and he went ahead and had one. And when it came up in front of a committee, Elder T used his influence to just quash any dissenting opinion about it, and nothing ever happened to the other guy. So not that I think that he should have been punished for getting a blood transfusion. I mean, God forbid, the guy died because of some stupid man-made doctrine. Something's been twisted and perverted out of Holy Scripture into something to suit the Watchtower. But I mean, there's always that double standard. And so, yeah, I just wanted to do a little clarification on that. There's such a giant contrast now that I've become a Christian. I could see the hypocrisy way back then. I could see that there was something wrong, and I really didn't understand what I should or could do about it. But over the decades, I mean, it just wore on me and wore on me. And there's only so much excuse making you can do. And say, oh, well, they're just imperfect people. Oh, God bless Jehovah's heart. All he has is imperfect people to work with. Oh, they make mistakes. They have new light. Well, the way I look at it now, I mean, how much of what Moses said and wrote is new light now? Where are all these mistakes that the prophets made and then were corrected? I don't see that. It's in the Bible canon, and it's accepted to be gospel. It's the truth. What is written in the Bible, as far as I'm concerned, as far as millions of Christians around the world are concerned, it's true. And here's the Watchtower with their, ever-changing doctrine, flip-flopping and waffling on this and that, and outright changing all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, I'm feeling blessed to be a Christian, and I'm going to say, if you're studying with Jehovah's Witnesses, end the study and find a born-again Christian who can help you to find Christ. He's the only one that can save you. You don't owe an organization anything. It's between you and Jesus. And if you are one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I pray that your eyes are opened and that you come to Christ. He truly is the only salvation. Salvation does not lie with the Watchtower. I wish you all a good night, and I hope to be on here again soon, and I hope to hear from you. Take care now.